Okay, while I was ministering in the streets, the Holy Spirit showed me the timeline in Matthew chapter 24. I wrote it down in the description box, and I would like to read it and then go over it. In Matthew 24, 9, 21, and 21 and 29. In Matthew 24, 9, 21, and 29 is the exact same timeline as Daniel 9:27, Daniel chapter 11, and Revelation 11:3. In Revelation 11:3 is the 1290 days, approximately 3.5 years of the ministry of Jesus Christ. Daniel 12:11. Then Revelation 12:14, 1335 days, approximately 3.53 years, great spiritual tribulation for the church. Daniel 12:12. And finally Revelation 13:5, 1260 days, approximately 3.5 years, the abomination making desolate manifests, and great spiritual and great physical tribulation. Verse 666 begins. Revelation 13:11. See Daniel 12:6-7. Those three approximate 3.5 year periods of time is an overview of the entire chapter of Revelation 11. Matthew 24 and Daniel chapter 11, etc. In Daniel 12:6-7 is the times and half a time of Revelation 13:5. The little horn is manifested January 2016. I wrote here, this is the inauguration of the North American election. Out from the soaked in sin, four corners of the earth, slaughter, judgment, altar of the Creator. And this has to do with all humanity who are in the four corners of the earth, all in various degrees. And Revelation 13:4. And then verse 11, the abomination, there's a spelling error, the abomination that makes desolate, transformation is complete, approximately 2021. Then the 42 months, 1260 days of Revelation 13:5 begins. All timelines are approximate, Luke 21:28. Now when these things begin to take place, look up and raise your heads, because your redemption is drawing near. So just to go over this, make sure this is correct. The little horn is manifested January 2017, but out from the soaked in sin, four corners of the earth, slaughter, judgment, altar of the Creator. And in Revelation 13:4, and then verse 11. So Revelation, we're going to go over these. This is where the whole world follows the beast, and then the second beast rises up out of the earth, because the earth produces on its own. Revelation 13:4 manifests. Okay, so we're going to go over this, and I just want to go over the principalities. I might forget to do it at the end. The seven principalities include, they are business, religion, politics, environmental, education, entertainment, and technological. These can all be categorized as sciences. So these are seven principalities, and then you have the almond blossoms. That is the rod of Aaron. That is the government of God. The government of God, Jesus Christ, is the eighth king. That's the government that runs all the seven principalities. So beginning in Matthew 24, 9, 21, and 29. Matthew 24 and 9. So from Matthew 9 to 21 to 21, or even 15, okay, is, as you can say, regarding the timeline, is from 2013 to 20, there's 3.5 years, and so you have to add 6 months on each timeline. So from 2013 to 2016 is Matthew 9, 24:9 to 21. So what this is saying, whoops. Then shall you be delivered up to be afflicted. This is Jesus Christ was given up on the cross. He was afflicted and given up on the cross. They shall deliver you up to be afflicted. Jesus, the jury of Christ, and then the cross, and shall kill you. And you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another, because Jacob has lost its. The church is being persecuted, so they say, "Where is your God?" You see. And so that's why the disciples were afraid. They were scattered because Messiah was put on the cross and the whole world started following the beast. And then many shall be offended, and they say, like, who can make war with the beast? And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. And the gospel of this kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come. And so this is an overview also, but this is speaking regarding the 3 hours of Jesus Christ on the cross is the culmination of all prophecy. And so this is what this is speaking regarding. In verse 15, when therefore, okay, Jesus Christ preached in the heart of the earth. Okay, so and many false prophets shall arise and deceive many, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness to all witnesses, and then the end shall come. So this is Messiah on the cross. And then this is the next 3 years also of great spiritual tribulation for the church mentioned here in this chapter. So Jesus is speaking regarding his crucifixion and then what will happen after his crucifixion. In verse 15, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whosoever readeth, let him understand. So this is 2016. Okay, 2016 is after the 3 hours of Jesus on the cross. Another 3.5 years begins, and it's also the 3-year timeline. Then them which be in Judea, let them flee into the mountains. This is the 7 spirits of God, and this is regarding not going back into your house to take your mantle. The darkness is coming. And don't go back into the world. It's time to release yourself from the things of this world. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe to him that are with child and him that gives suck in those days. This is all decoded in the video. I have it all in the notes as well. I can go over it. And woe unto them that are with child, to them that give suck in those days, because but pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. So the overview of these 4 verses is to take notice what is happening in the world. It is great. It says, for then shall be great tribulation. So this is 2016 to 2019, the spiritual tribulation for the church. I'm going to explain it in further verses. And don't go to get your anything that is of Egypt, your daily routines inside your heart, your exercises in the world, at work, it's God is saying it's time. It's prepare yourself to come out. Woe unto them that are with child, pastors giving suck to babes that are in need of more instruction. Pray that your flight be not in winter or in the summer. The winter and the summer house. There is no growth in the winter. And this is saying, pray it's not on a Sabbath day. Pray that you're not lacking. Pray that, Jesus Christ is speaking regarding a time of drought. Okay, in the winter and the summer house. He says to me, come to me cold or come to me hot, but don't come to me lukewarm. But pray ye that your flight may not be in winter on the Sabbath, for then shall be great tribulation. When is then? Then begins in verse 29. And no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved, but for the sake of the elect those days shall be shortened. Then, if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall be arising false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I told you beforehand. So this is speaking regarding, these miracles are also demonic, once again, demonic spirits working in all humanity. It's a chessboard. The queen and the king are served by the pawns, by the rook, by the knight, by the bishop, and by the pawns. And so the pawns are all handmaids. They're handmaids and men servants. And so what happens is that the spirits inside all the chess pieces give homage to the queen and to the king, the beast and the false prophet. 26, wherefore, if they shall say to you, Behold, he is in the desert, do not go forth. Behold, he's in the secret chambers, believe it not. RSV, behold, if they say he's in the wilderness, go not forth. If he's in the inner chamber, in the inner rooms, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also be the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. It is all mentioned in the video, and when I was doing the video, this is when this really opened up for me, and the Holy Spirit opened up this timeline at that time. In verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened. So here is the great physical tribulation manifesting, okay, approximately 2021. Okay, we're adding 6 months, 6 months, and 6 months, because it is a 7-year period. Then shall appear the sign. So the moon shall not give us her light. That is Acts 2:17. Here in Matthew and Luke. And the stars shall fall from heaven. Okay, the stars that fall from heaven is the complete sealing, the complete deprivation of the fallen angels, demons. They are now completely darkened. And the powers of heaven shall be shaken. That's them. Because of the coming of the Son of God. Okay, they're going to be in a panic. They're going to, when Jesus Christ appears, as he showed me in the vision, they're going to know that's him. Humanity will know that's him because it will be spirits. No, they know. And they tremble with fear, says the Bible. The demons know, and they tremble with fear. That's how they recognize the light. They're afraid of the light. And so they turn their nuclear weapons at Messiah, at Jesus Christ. And then he speaks the word. And it's all done. It's over. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes in heaven, because he comes down with heaven. He is heaven. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall the tribes of the earth mourn. And they that see the Son of Man, including all those, and they are all those that pierced him, coming in the clouds, the angels of heaven, with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds of heaven. That is the deity of Christ, from one end of heaven to the other end of heaven. The clouds. The clouds will meet the clouds. And so that is the end of the revelation. So in Daniel 9:27, he shall confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. That is here. Matthew 9. He delivers it. This is where Jesus Christ is on the cross. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abomination, he shall make it desolate, even until the marriage, the consummation between the iron and the clay. And that's from verse, that is from 21. And up to here. To 25. Okay? If those days, now this is great spiritual tribulation. Okay? So if those days had not been shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Now this falls in the timeline, once again, this falls in the 1335 days. And what happened at the beginning of the 1335 days is the Obama administration was ceased, and then the Mr. Donald Trump Association began. And so what that brought, it was a time of reprieve. And we find this in Revelation chapter 12. So what happened here, it says in verse 9, the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast down, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. There's a transition from both those administrations. In verse 10 says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of the brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame them, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. So except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved, but for the sake of the elect, those days shall be shortened. They overcame them by the blood of the Lamb, by the soul of Jesus Christ. And so this is speaking regarding nuclear war. This is regarding the salvation of God, sealing the elect of God. And so that's what's happening here. In verse 11 it says, they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Okay, this is also speaking of Revelation chapter 11. And by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. So they did this spiritually. Okay, they proved to God through these times of great spiritual tribulations, they proved themselves to God. And so God seals them now. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, and the sea of the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has but a short time. And in verse 13, when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. In verse 14, and to the woman he were given 2 wings of a great eagle. So now here we are, right here in verse 29. This begins 29. Okay, they're given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for times 42 months from the face of the serpent. Okay, from the face of the serpent, okay, it means that they were plucked up out of the fire as Joshua was in Zechariah. This is happening over a period of time, but this time it's all condensed. This is a vision, and once again, these scriptures they overlap each other, and then you have the entire vision, because John saw in parts, in different series of visions that was given him. So in Revelation 13, and when a dragon saw, he was cast unto the earth. When a dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, is Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. He had 2 horns like a lamb. He spoke as a dragon, exercised all the power of the first beast before him. So we have the Democrats, the Republicans, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. So the 2 horns come together here at this point. The 2 horns become one. And and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. Okay, so the first beast is the one that comes out of the altar in Revelation 13. This is the first beast. Okay? The beast came out of the altar. Matthew 24:22 is the time of the sealing, once again. Is the time of the sealing of the entire creation. It's the entire creation that is being sealed. So what the Lord is saying, I can find that place again here. He's saying that except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. So these days are the days of great spiritual tribulation. So God says there's no more delay. Great physical tribulation begins, and they've proven themselves to God. They are martyrs for God, and God comes. This is his 144,000. He comes and he saves them while they're in their flesh. Okay, so he shortens. What does he shorten? He shortens the time of Armageddon war. Okay, he's shortening the time of Armageddon war. He's lengthening these days. This is 1,235 days. There's a delay. So he's lengthening these days. There's a delay, and then the delay is no more. And then immediately after the tribulation of those days, this is the great manifestation. This is the great physical. This is the great physical tribulation. And the bride has made herself ready. Daniel 27, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolator. And that's found here. Wherefore they so here, so it's here. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, the moon shall not give their light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. The Son of Man appears in the sky, and he desolates. Okay, he makes desolate. He makes desolate the desolator. Okay, so now we get into the Daniel 11:3. Daniel 11:3. So we have. I didn't bring up Daniel chapter 11. I could. That's in the Daniel 11 decoded as well. Daniel chapter 11 decoded, and Daniel. So Matthew 24, 9, 21, and 29 is the exact same timeline as Daniel 9:27. Is the 3 chapters. Revelation 11 and Revelation 11:3. So the entire chapter of Revelation 11:3, okay, is an overview of Matthew chapter 24. And the temple of God was open in heaven. This is the last verse. And there was seen in his temple the ark of his testimony. There were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. So God is ending it here. Okay, and so you'll see that in Daniel 11:3 speaks regarding, I will give my power unto my 2 witnesses, and there shall prophesy 1,260 days. It's 90 days clothed in sackcloth. It is the first in Daniel 12, chapter 6 and chapter 12, 6 and 7. Is it 6 and 7? It's not. I don't think it is. It's blessed is he that maketh waiteth and cometh to 1,305 and 1,335 days. So the first timeline is given. There shall be so, and from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate is set up, there shall be 1,290 days. So this is 1,290 days. 1,290 days. Go back to here, begins in Matthew chapter, this once again begins here in 9. This is 1,290 days, okay? Begins here in chapter, in verse 9 of chapter 24. And then what does the scripture say? in Daniel 12, and from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, Jesus Christ on the cross, and the abomination that maketh desolate is set up. That is from 2013 to 2016. It is the election of the little horn. Okay, it is Revelation 13, 1 to 3 and 4. And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, the abomination making desolate is set up. There shall be 1,290 days, 1,290 days. And then it says, blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,335 days. But go your way, Daniel, till the end. For the end shall it be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of thy days. So God has given Daniel eternal security. Now, just to say, now here the 1,335 days commence right here, 2021, 1,335 days. Okay, this is in verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation. This here is the spiritual tribulation for the followers of Christ. Okay, and in Revelation 12:14, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. Time, times, and half a times is the 1,260 days. And the 1,260 days is the great tribulation right here. This is 12, oops, I did that again. Is 1,260 days of great tribulation. Okay? Now, oops. Okay, so which one did I? It was Revelation 13:4. So we have to go to Revelation 13. I canceled that bookmark, so I have to get that bookmark back. I'd like to do that. Revelation 13. And Revelation 13. I'm going to go back to the timeline here. So, in Matthew 24, 9, 21, and 21 and 29 is the exact same timeline as Daniel 9:27, Daniel chapter 11, and Revelation 11:3. In Daniel 11:3, 1,290 days, 3.5 years, ministry of Jesus Christ. Then Revelation 12:14, 1,335 days, tribulation for great spiritual tribulation for the church. Daniel 12:12. We have to go to Daniel 12:12. And finally, let's see, Daniel 12:12. Daniel 12:12. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,335 days. Okay, and regarding 6 and 7, also let me get to that timeline. I forgot to talk about that timeline. It is Daniel 6 and 7. It is with Revelation 13:5. Okay, so it says here in Daniel 12:6-7 is the time, times, and half a time of Revelation 13:5. So Revelation 13:5, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things, and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Okay, so this is when the little horn comes out of the altar. Now this 42 months begins here in Daniel chapter, or in Revelation chapter 13:11. You can find that here. Is a time, times, and time and a half of times and half a time of Revelation 13:15. The little horn is manifested. January 20, 2017, out from the soaked in sin, four corners of the earth, slaughter, altar, judgment, altar of the Creator. And in Revelation 13:4, okay, this should not be there. So this should be like this. In Revelation 13:4, and then verse 11, the abomination that makes desolate transformation is complete, approximately 2024. Then the 42 months, 1260 days of Revelation 13:5 begins. All timelines are approximate. So in Revelation, so once again, let's go to Daniel, and let's see, Daniel. One said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these ones? This is wonderful because the angel is speaking with the Lord, and it's for an example. It's just amazing. So they're acting together in order for Daniel to receive the vision. They're interceding for Daniel also, and so it's amazing. Daniel's actually experiencing them, how they communicate with one another, for our benefit. It's just astounding. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long? He has 1 foot on the river, 1 foot on the bank, the sea and the land. How long shall it be? And the sea is the spirits, and the land is the soul. How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand, his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, it shall be for a time, times, and half a time, when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, and all these things shall be finished. See, so he scattered the power of the holy people. And scattering the power of the holy people is really what it is. It is a symbol of what Lucifer would do to the entire creation, and that includes the 144,000. He would completely decimate. He would completely decimate them all. The entire creation. And so that's why here in Matthew, I think it's here in Matthew, here once again says that except those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. This happens during the great spiritual tribulation of the 1335 days, beginning in approximately 2016, 2017. And so here, once again, in Daniel 12, says, when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And so what he does is the days are shortened, and it's perdition. It is no more delay. And then time will be cut off approximately 3.5 years later. So interlineal, Daniel, this is what I wanted to read here. It's exactly the same. And he shall confirm of abominations. Okay, so what this is saying, and I have this revelation, it was given me approximately a week ago or so, or 5 days ago. And this is speaking about the abomination coming. It comes through the wing of abomination. So here, let's say, for example, in the King James, it will be on the wing of abominations, and that's correct. But what this is also saying, the interpretation they're saying, is that it's through the wing of abomination. Very spiritual. And in the Bible says that Jesus comes riding on the wing. In the Hebrew translation, in one of the versions, actually says he's on the wing, not only of the wing, but he's on the wing of a cherub. Okay, the deity of Christ. And so this abomination the works of the one here, the desolator, who makes desolate, comes through the wing of abomination. It comes through the wing of abomination. And so that wing is of the wing of Lucifer. It is of the left and right horn of Lucifer, Satan, the devil, the one horn. Because it's two horns made into one, and once again, that's Judas Iscariot. So I have this explained a little bit better. The first time I had this, maybe what I'll do is I'll edit it and show the other example. But I think that's basically. I'm just going to read this here in Daniel chapter 9 here in the King James. In 27 says, "And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease." And so this is the first half here of Matthew, the first third. It's a third and a third and a third. Okay, and that's also very prophetic. Ezekiel and Zechariah. That's also in the reports, in the study reports. So here is the first week, the first 3.5 weeks rather, the first 3.5 weeks. Okay, and then, so this is Daniel 9:27 up until this point. "And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation." And so that is from 21 here to 28. Okay? And so once again it says here, "For wherever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together." The other translation will also say the vultures will be gathered together. And so once again you have spiritual death while we're alive, while the masses are alive. Those who are not conforming to God, it's complete spiritual death. And then the vultures is hell, is in hell, as they pluck away at the carcasses. They're given over to the birds. So the eagles spiritually destroy, it's a higher spiritual calling, and the vultures pluck away at the dead physical carcasses. And so that's what this is speaking regarding, and that is Daniel 27, once again, "The overspreading abomination, he shall make it desolate even until the consummation," the marriage. So that marriage of clay is going to happen at the end of the 1335 days. Okay, that's the consummation. Who is like the beast? Who can make war as like the beast? And then the last 1260 days is, "And that is determined shall be poured upon the desolate." The desolator, the one who makes desolate. Those who bring into captivity they shall go. Okay? Those who kill with the sword they shall be killed. So if we look here in Revelation chapter 13 rather, 4. So the beast comes out of the altar, and then they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, "Who is like unto the beast, and who is able to make war with him?" Okay, so he comes out of the altar, and there's 1335 days. They see him. This is even at the beginning of his appearing. Possibly because, when he came in, he comes in as someone different. "And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things." And then 11. "And I beheld another beast come out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, spoke like a dragon." Verse 12. "And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein," those are spirits, "to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, the whole world worships and follows the beast." Revelation chapter 4. And begins here in Revelation chapter 11. It is the fulfillment. This is the fulfillment of Revelation chapter 4. They worship the beast. The dragon gave him the power. They worship the dragon, spiritual, Okay, and so which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast? Who is able to make order?" And so they worshiped the dragon, which gave power. What is the power of the beast? The power of the beast is he exercises all the power of the first beast before him and causes the earth and them, this is spirits, these are pawns, demons in humanity, and them which dwell therein. They dwell within the earth, this fragmentation of the brain, and dwelling, sojourning, and even resting in the souls of humanity to worship the first beast. And this begins the 42 months. This begins the 42 months. Right here, 11. Okay? And that, once again, is after the 1,335 days are complete. So, I hope you're edified. In Luke 23:28, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. The redemption is near. So I hope you're edified in Jesus' name. I wanted to just touch on this one matter. Okay? 42 months and 42 months. The closest number to 42 months is 1,260 days. 1,290 days is very, very close as well. But I think when I worked it out, the closest number to 42 months is 1,260 days. 1,260 days is the last 3.5 years. 42 months is 3.5 years. So what I'm going to say is that the 42 months, the beast here that comes out, this beast goes for 42 months, and then here in chapter 11, another 42 months begin. Okay, let me say that. Okay, I like that a lot better. I want to give everybody as much opportunity as possible, the Holy Spirit does, to repent their sins. Okay? And so that's possibly why, God put this here, because there's time to repent. There's time to repent. And Revelation 11 says, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth. So who is this other beast? Could be a transformation of somebody that we know. Could be someone else. Okay, but I just wanted to stress that, because we're in a time where we're still preaching, we're still praying, and people can still be blessed, and we're hoping for everybody to receive a blessing, to be increased of God. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. God positions everybody. He raises up kings and he puts them down. He removes them. I don't know who this person is. I'll be honest with you. I really don't know who that person is. So the closer we get to the election, the more we're going to know. All right, God bless you.